always have to meet this way.
Hang on. I got ice cream the other day.
That was good.
Cream. It's good cream. Cream.
Hi, I'm Kat.
I'm Miguel Caligula.
And I'm good.
Today we're debating which is the better console, Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo. Wait a minute, I know what my favorite console of the two is. Even though Super Nintendo had some amazing exclusives, like all the Mario games, I actually enjoyed Sega Genesis more. It was a little bit more mature, it had more gutsy games with blood in it. I know Mortal Kombat was big at the time.
Hardcore.
Super Nintendo couldn't show the blood because they had little sissies. And Sega Genesis had the blood and
I'm
the
offended by that joke.
Good.
Keep going.
And Super Nintendo didn't have, well, they had fatalities, but they altered them.
That's why the whole
Right, but they have
system's
the
better.
games that make up the history of gaming. Mario is on Nintendo. Super Mario World, Mario All-Star, which had all the games on it, Mario Kart. These are classics.
Keep going.
Classics.
I'm glad you brought that up, Kat.
Star Fox.
Oh!
Sega
But
has what? Sonic, and Aladdin.
Sega had more mature games like Road Rash, Streets of Rage, Virtua Racing, and Virtua Fighter. And I also feel that, I know, call me crazy, compare the SNES games and the Sega games, I say that Sega had a little bit better sound.
Finish him.
Call me nuts.
Okay, maybe they had better sound, but Nintendo had better color, I think. And the screen in general.
I don't see color.
I have to admit that I played all my EA Sports games on the Genesis because of the controller.
The controller is much better, I think, on the Sega Genesis. The D-pad, it's got the angles, not just up, down, left,
It
right.
is a little nicer, but the other one's classic.
But are you sick? They're still using it, by the way. The D-pad on Nintendo, it's so edgy. It just hurts my soft thumb. No, it's nothing to do with laziness. This is to do with comfort. This is like, oh, look at it. It's so archaic. They still use it.
The problem is it's one of their staples now.
I know. We'll get rid of it. This is the reason why I like the Sega Genesis more.
Oh.
More mature games.
How many units sold?
Sega never released how many units sold. They say between 20 to 40 million. How many SNES units sold?
49.1.
Whoa, well, it definitely is more popular.
And technically Sega, the speed that it ran at was faster. That's the only really good thing I can say though. Way better games, the resolution was better, the colors were better. Classic games, Mario Kart, Super Mario World, Super Mario Brothers, Mario All-Star. Say video game to someone who doesn't play video games, and I think
They
the
say
first
Sonic the
character-
Hedgehog.
No, they do not. No, they do not. They only know about Mario.
Be
Don't make
honest.
me angry. Classic, told throughout time. Throughout time.
good for me.
The only thing that I remember from Sega is that Dolphin game, Aladdin, and
Echo.
yeah,
Echo
Echo
the
the Dolphin, yeah, and Sonic. Other than that,
Super Nintendo had more exclusives, but Sega still held its own with its
it
exclusives.
did. It held its own. Sonic.
That's
Sonic
like-
and
but
Sega
that's-
was-
I know, but my point here is, what other major franchise have they had?
But
other
that's
than
not the
Sonic?
point. The debate is which system did you like the most?
I'm talking about the classic battle of the two consoles. What
Right.
else did they have other than Sonic?
Road Rash, I said them already.
Oh, that's a franchise?
Streets of Rage.
And those went for 20 years after.
No.
Oh,
But they
that's
were
my point.
they were a franchise at the time.
Oh.
We're not
Super
talking about what
Nintendo
happened
stands the
after.
test of time, and Sega was good at the time.
Oh, I just like to point that out. They went nowhere.
That could happen to the Nintendo franchises too.
Yep. For
But it
25 years, longest in the business.
It could
It's-
happen.
Yeah, it's happened to them. It's gonna happen to Halo, Gears of War,
Zelda,
Halo, and Gears of
Mario.
War. Mario will be around for another 20
Mario.
years. And the reason that's happening, Super Nintendo, when they released it, they had strict guidelines on what you could put onto the system. And they were smart at the time because they got a lot of younger kids playing that system at the same time as having the hardcore audience on board because they still did release Mortal Kombat. Even though it was toned down, I still played it on there. My point is that if you look at the history of Nintendo, they've done the same thing over and over and over. It's always get the younger generation on board so we can, prolong our existence in video games. I have to admit, I played Sega Genesis all the time because of the hardcore games. I actually played Sega Genesis more than my Super Nintendo. NHL because of the controller, because of the fighting stick that came out on the Genesis. That thing was spectacular. If there was a game that came out on both systems, I would always play it on the Genesis just because of the controller.
So if you had to pick between the two, what would it be?
I have to pick Super Nintendo because of the fact that they put more time into the stories of their video games, their first-party video games. For me, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, that game, nothing nothing will ever beat it. All of those games that came out had either amazing gameplay, like Star Fox came out, and that was ahead of its time with the FX chip.
But Virtual Racing was ahead of its time.
Yeah, that's true, but it
And
kind
it
of
looked-
was,
it had the Star
it
Fox
had the same
graphics.
3D
It was very
effects in that.
Yeah, like a hexagon wheel.
Sega Genesis also looked pretty sleek, all black and
But
such.
Super Nintendo had the shoulder buttons, I think, for the first time ever.
Yeah.
So tell us what your favorite is. Did you prefer Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo?
Comment below,
Let
let
us
us know
know.
what you think.
Comment below, let us know. Hey Joe, what do you know? And today we're reviewing what is the best console between
Today we're reviewing what is the best console.
or Dreamcast
Or Virtual Boy.
or Sega CD.
Or Sega CD.
All right. Sega had more mature games like Road Rash, like
Road Rash.
My favorite is NES, by far. More classic games.
Super NES.
Super NES.
That was good.
Duck Hunt. Oh no,
Duck
Hunt.
Hunt?
No, never mind.
Let's just go into the future just a little bit here.
No, we're not.
Why?
in the future.
Why are you
Debate
going
part
off
two.
topic?
Debate part 2.
No.
You always
No.
leave it with debate part 2.
I was cut it out.
Yep. So the next debate in this is